Hi, welcome. This video is about the group project Pacman Capture the Flag. The three team members are Yan Tian, Yuan Wang, and Yujie Liu. The first section of this video is design decision. In our design, we utilize both Monte Carlo tree search and A-star heuristic search and combine these two together to cope with various scenarios. Monte Carlo tree search is an online strategy, consists of four important steps: selection, expansion, simulation, and backpropagation. To be specific, within one iteration, what we will do is select one node based on a given policy, expand the node by selecting an available action, perform simulation from an expanded node to a leaf node, and backpropagate the leaf node value we got along the way back, during which the time visited will also be backpropagated. After repeating the iteration process, it could finish with a Monte Carlo tree that could be used for decision making. In our design for Pacman contest, since the preparation time for an agent to choose an action is restricted to 1 second, and the distance that an agent could detect the opponent location is also restricted to 5 squares. In order to make full use of computing power and available information and simulate as much as possible, our team decided to use an adapted version of MCT, which would directly roll out after selecting a random action and backpropagate the win score and visited times. According to the win score we got from all the simulations, our agent would apply the action with highest value of expectation. Besides, A-star heuristic search is used as supplementary to MCT because of its stable performance. By taking advantage of a heuristic function and estimating remaining cost, A-star would also break ties, expand nodes, and return satisfying actions. The A-star method we design makes use of a heuristic function that returns the distance to a closest food with the goal state of finish eating all possible food. Now let's dive into the world of Pacman. Adopting the two strategies we mentioned before, a Pacman or ghost would make a great decision under different scenarios. Within 1 second, the agent would firstly go through more than 100 times of MCT iterations, and each iteration would start from current state and the selected legal action, directly roll out to leaf node, which is said to be further 4 actions, so 5 actions in total, and finally backpropagate the win score to the node of corresponding first action. Now comes the interesting part. If the win score we got from all these iterations are 0 for all available direct actions, which means nothing interesting happened during each iteration, embedded A-star method would be turned on to guide an agent to find proper food. Otherwise, the next action would be selected based on win score according to MCT mechanism. In the current design, two agents have the same logic. Both of them can attack or defense, but the main focus is usually on attack, since the sonar system of Pacman is not that great. Specifically, if the number of remaining opponents' food is larger than 2, or the time of this game is almost up, the agent would come back home to defense. If not, rush to eat food as much as he can. Our design of Pacman agent evolved through many 4 stages. Stage 1. Try to combine A-star and MCT strategy for agents, without thinking about establishing a win score mechanism. Convert an agent to a fully defensive stance after finish eating half of food in total. Turn out to perform badly. In stage 2, try to separate the functionality of 2 agents, offensive agent and defensive agent. Try to make use of noisy distance to approach distant opponent, but failed due to the unstable sonar system. In stage 3, we focus more on offense. Both of the 2 agents share same logic, including offense and defense, and come back home after eating enough food. Use flexible wins mechanism to help agents adopt an appropriate action, but there are issues: unnecessary randomness when approaching food using MCT, and the motto blind alley. In stage 4, optimize the A-star search and combine it with MCT. Consider map configuration, To avoid deep blind alleys, push agents to unload food when the game is almost over.
Now is the challenge experience section. The most important limit is the time constraint, as the MCT needs more simulations to explore more steps to decide the best next action. The 1 second time constraint only allows our agents to do about 200 simulations for 5 steps, which is not enough for achieving the best performance. There are 6 main challenges we encountered. According to our practice tests and feedback from every competition, these challenges help us to explore new solutions and optimize the performance. The first one is determining the appropriate simulation steps choice. Simulation is a crucial part of MCT, as a good simulation could provide a wise decision for the next action. Simulation effect is influenced by the step setting. However, how to set appropriate simulation step is quite a challenge, since we had a 1 second time limit for each step in this case. If we take too many steps, the simulation times will be too few, which makes them provide little information for next action choice. Well, if the steps are too few, it cannot simulate further result of different actions, which is still not helpful for a better action choice. Considering the agent's visual range, the range which it can get the accurate position of opponent. We choose 5 steps, and based on that, the simulation times could reach about 200, which is fairly reasonable. The second challenge is dividing the offensive and defensive state in which dimension. Dividing states in which dimension is also a big challenge. We tried both dimensions and experienced a detour when implementing the agent role dimension by making 2 classes and set the 2 agent, one as a defender and the other as an offender. Regarding pitfalls of agent role dimension, the defensive agent unable to effectively plan the route of chasing opponent because we misused the noisy distance. Moreover, setting a specific defensive agent staying at home during the whole game is too redundant, which will slow down the score gaining process. By contrast, dividing in the time dimension, 2 agents both can gain score at the most time and enhances the efficiency. They can hit the target score efficiently and get back to defense quickly. The first video shows our dark blue agent, which are only responsible for defense, trying to catch the red Pacman by using noisy distance when the red Pacmans are not in observation. It leads to a poor performance. Well, the second video shows that after turning to change state in time division, our dark blue agent can defend both on their way to attack and in the defensive state. They become smarter. The third challenge is the limitation of adapted MCT only strategy. Agents may have strange moves in only adapted MCT strategy, such as the first video shows that our light blue agent walked backward on its way to attack because the agent moved randomly during simulation processes. Decision making may be affected by the randomness. Well, after combining with the A-star strategy, blue Pac-Mans can walk towards to one of the 3 nearest food to eat. They become smarter and never walked backward without any reason. The fourth one is 2 agents stays too close to influence each other and cause the low efficiency. It is inefficient for our right agent to pursue food as they stay too close and act quite similar, which causes the follower cannot eat anything. After aiding the logic to stay away from partners, agents in same team can be pushed by the teammate within 5 meters distance. Therefore, the dark blue and light blue agents can make differences in performance. The fifth challenge is Pacman cannot avoid the blend alley, especially when they are on the way to escape. Inability to avoid blind alleys is quite a challenge. For example, we trained our Pacman knows how to avoid opponents chasing, but when they choose the way to escape, they often choose the blind alleys as normal escape routes where they will die. We decided to get the map information and detect the blind alleys and end corner. The first video shows that the Pacman cannot avoid blind alley and choose the wrong way to escape. Well, in the second one, they know how to avoid it. The last but also the hardest one is with the win value settings and parameter adjustment for different action consequences. The environment of agent is divided into four situations by two aspects as shown in the picture. Our agents are faced to too many complicated scenarios, and they need to compare the importance and priority for the consequence of each action in different roles and states, as well as the wins value they gained. Thus, setting the wins mechanism and parameter adjustments are challenging, as we need to balance the mutual impact between different action consequences in the decision making. We keep trying, experimenting, and validating to get more reasonable solutions.
Now let's talk about what can be done to improve this project if we have sufficient time. The first point is optimizing the method of avoiding blind alleys. The current version of Pacman will not enter shallow blind alleys, deep alleys, and part of intersections of two blind alleys when being chased by an unscared opponent ghost. Here are some examples of deep alleys. The Pacman will probably ignore shallow blind alleys when being chased using the power of MCT. An extra map judgment logic can help Pacman get rid of deep alleys and part of their intersections as well. Pacman will get into alleys to eat food only when there is no unscared opponent within 5 meters distance. However, Pacman may be killed because they entered super deep blind alleys to eat food, and at that game state, there was no opponent in observation. After that game state, an opponent ghost entered this super deep blind alley and killed Pacman. If the Pacman can realize the approaching danger, it may be possible for them to make their way to escape. Moreover, Pacman still cannot recognize the intersections of multiple blind alleys, so an improved map judgment logic would help to improve the survival rate of Pacman. The second point to improve is optimizing complexity of methods to achieve a better MCT model. In this case, the computing resource for MCT to choose an action is 1 second. So as we mentioned above, we changed MCT a little bit to adjust to the current case. We only record the first action of each simulation to calculate wins, and the rest for random moves are not being recorded. The most ideal situation is each simulation takes all the remaining steps to the end of the whole game, but it's impossible in this game. However, wins values and place values really matter in MCT. If more computing power can be obtained to record and calculate wins of nodes in deeper depths, MCT will become stronger and smarter. Some methods and algorithms can be optimized to achieve a better computing performance and save more computing power for simulation. And the third one is introducing more reasonable mechanisms to calculate wins values, such as reinforcement learning methods. In the current version, the mechanism used to calculate wins values is hard-coded. Although a certain degree of dynamic adjustment can be achieved, is still insufficient to handle various scenarios. Some mechanisms, such as reinforcement learning models, can be introduced to better regulate wins parameters. They can regulate wins values dynamically in several combinations. A combination of MCT and reinforcement learning would be a great AI in my imagining. The last point is making better use of capsules. In the current version, Pacman will obtain wins values if they eat capsules. The more foods they are carrying, the higher wins values they will obtain. In addition to this, more mechanisms can be used to make better use of capsules. Pacman will not make good use of capsules in deep blind alleys when being chased by opponents. They may ignore these capsules because of deep blind alleys and ghosts. The situation may be more favorable if they can eat these capsules. Moreover, Pacman should calculate the remaining time that the opponents are scared and record if scared ghosts were eaten by Pacman. In this way, they can get rid of being eaten at the moment opponent ghosts recovered. Oh, that's all. Thanks for watching.